Liberals furious about what's happening to 1,700 Americans each day under Trump's administration. During Barack Obama's administration, the country went into a recession that lasted for years. The recession began when the previous administration pushed for higher taxes and implemented Obamacare that really put the screws to the American people. Then more jobs were shipped overseas and factory jobs went out of business and our unemployment rate grew. After 8 years of dealing with this entire monstrosity, the American people elected Donald Trump. Of course, the left is hell-bent on calling this man every name in the book and trying to undermine him every step of the way. However, they cannot take away his major accomplishments. The left has been furious ever since Donald Trump was elected president last fall. Instead of these people jumping on board to make America great again, they are busy throwing a huge temper tantrum. This temper tantrum has included those leftists who accuse Trump of colluding with Russia, obstructing justice, and an attempt to impeach him over his tweets on Twitter. The mainstream media and the left will do everything they can to keep the country dividing and not pay attention to the great things Trump has been doing. For example, since Trump was elected he has been determined to bust child sex trafficking rings around the country, illegal immigration is down, and the job market is booming. And, there is one other amazing thing Trump can add his name to the credits and it has liberals furious. As mentioned previously, the United States has rebounded economically in leaps and bounds. In the second quarter, the annual growth rate has bounced up to 2.6% and is happening in just the first year under President Trump. Under the Obama administration, the economy never hit 3% in a calendar year, which is what many Republicans criticized the Democrats on. But, that is not all that has changed ever since Trump took office. President Trump's aggressive stance on global trading may also be working in America's favor. Here is more from WCPO. America's biggest trade partners have taken far fewer protectionist measures against U.S. business so far this year, possibly because they're worried about retaliation, according to the authors of the Global Trade Alert, published by the London-based Centre for Economic Policy Research. The report found that other G20 economies inflicted 52 hits against U.S. commercial interests in the first half of 2017, 29% fewer than in the same period last year, and a similar decline versus 2015. The hits include tariffs, duties and quotas on U.S. imports, anti-dumping measures, and tax incentives for exporters that could hurt American companies. The G20 countries that had hit U.S. interests more often before President Trump was elected are the very G20 countries that have cut back on protectionism the most in 2017, said Simon Ivanet, professor of economics at Switzerland's St. Gallen University and one of the authors of the Global Trade Alert. Why should they do that unless they feared being singled out for retaliation? These heavy users of protectionism may be signaling that they have gotten the message from the Trump administration in Washington, Ivanet added. So, is it any surprise that the American people are becoming wealthy again? It shouldn't, and it is being noticed by conservatives, but of course, the liberal media is ignoring that fact again. Jacob Wohl, CEO of Montgomery Asset, who is an open Trump supporter, tweeted this just yesterday, and the truth has gone viral. The MAGA movement is winning, and that was just proved again earlier this week when the Dow rose over 60 points on Monday, finishing at the record number of 21,891.12. Of course, President Trump tweeted about the good news on the historic high on Tuesday morning that had Americans cheering. Maria Bartiromo, a host on Fox News, stated, "Things are definitely getting better. I think there's no question that this stock market rally initially was totally because of the anticipation of President Trump." Bartiromo also added the market's continued rise, however, is also due to businesses simply doing better. The fact of the matter is that the American people have faith in America and its leadership again. Since Donald Trump was elected, there are more jobs being injected into the workforce, which means more people are getting off unemployment benefits. When Donald Trump was elected, he again evoked that American spirit of pride that had been dormant for so long. Under the previous administration, Obama apologized for our great strides in industry and discovery. Obama made the American people and our history a source of shame instead of him saying look how far we have come. Obama pushed the dangerous narrative that people were owed something just for their skin color and not the content of their character. Trump does not believe in that divisive language, but in the belief that everyone who works hard can be great in America. Also takes us a little elbow grease and some good old-fashioned American ingenuity and the United States will be on top again. Share if you believe in the American spirit. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Breaking News 365 channel. Goodbye and see you again.